Alright, we're gonna do better now. So, in the last session, which was like 2 weeks ago or more now, ish? I don't know, I don't keep track. We had Mars learn a little bit of magic, saving his level 1s for all the white magic that he'll be able to get after he's promoted to a white wizard. Part of the intention there is I've got these 2 knights, or they will be knights. Right now they're fighters and they'll upgrade to knights. I want them to be able to get their white magic. They can't use very much of it because of the rules in place that you can see in the right hand pane. But at the very least they'll have cure spells, and I'm sure that'll come in handy. Equipment is about the same as it was. It's near optimal given my rules. I've ignored the steel armor because it's not worth it for the amount of money and thus grinding. As well, it really would be better if I had an extra cap, but I can't buy one because I'm banned from entering the same store more than once, which has had drastic comedic effect on previous iterations of this stream. I went and got the coral sword last time, which was nice, and I'm going to do similar now. I'm going to go wander around the Earth Cave. I think I'll just pick out the treasures. It is ultimately going to be worthwhile to get the treasures. I do need to keep one party member dead at all times by my rules. I don't really have the rules super visible from my point of view. I don't have a great setup. This is actually an interesting thing for me. I was talking to a colleague at work this week who's a significant Twitch streamer, not like the biggest guy you would watch, but he's got a large number of followers. He has more than 80 regular viewers on his streams, which aren't on a schedule, so that's impressive. He was telling me, he was showing me his stats, and since February, he's earned about $800 in donations from his Twitch stream. And I was saying, like, considering it's just a hobby and you'd probably be doing it anyway, earning $800 from it is nothing to sneeze at. So, anyway, he and I got talking about Twitch quite a bit, and I would one day maybe like to have ambitions to be like him, as I'm just at a very busy time in my life. You can see from the pictures behind me that I have young kids, and there's another on the way. So, yeah. Busy time in my life. It's not a time where I'm gonna be incorporating and finding other ways to make Twitch streaming work for me. I have no interest in or ability to be. I'm not entertaining enough. No interest or ability to be a Twitch celebrity, which I understand there is such a thing. Anyway, but finding ways to. It's interesting. It's like gamifying gaming. It's like finding ways to min-max the fact that you're playing games and people are interested in that. You need to go away, you stupid cat. You're gonna spill my drink. I didn't check my audio. I wonder if my audio is working. I think it is. Stupid cat bit my toe. Get away from me. Jeez Louise. I'm fighting 2 battles at once here. This is the cat. I was talking last time about my cats a lot because people kept hearing cat bells through my headset microphone, and the cats are somehow picking up. Anyway, this is the big dumb orange cat whose name is Holmes. He doesn't have a good understanding of barriers of personal space. He's actually kind of weird. My wife got him when he was less old than you would normally get a kitten from its mother, and then not long after she had him, she actually dropped him down 2 flights of stairs. Like, well, not dropped him, she's not like a cruel person or anything, but he fell from like the 2nd floor down to the basement. I'm not going to explain that further because I didn't know her even at the time, but anyway, I think this little cat got brain damage. He thinks he's some kind of tiny baby kitten, but he's not. He's like 15 pounds. And, yeah, he'll kind of do this thing where it's going to sound weird, he kind of sucks on the couch as if it were going to give him milk. And he'll do this kneading action on the couch, or sometimes on you if you're sitting very still on the couch, and you don't want to sit still because it's unnerving. People don't generally want a cat to suck on them. Not the people I associate with, anyway. Low on my list of interests is cat sucking. That was impressive. 2 hits while blinded. I don't remember if shadows have particularly impressive evasion or not. They do have that very high surprise rating and the ability to blind you, which can be unpleasant. I wonder if I should use a tent outside of the earth cave or not. What I'm really doing here, I'm not really intending to blow through the earth cave. I think that that's unrealistic given my restrictions and levels. I'm not exactly going to gain any equipment in the near future either. Very nearly all the rest of the equipment I'm going to get in this game is going to be out of treasure chests. Anyway, what I want to do is go to Crescent Lake, because that is a place where I'll go get some significant upgrades. I'll get a whole bunch of silver equipment for my fighters, one of whom is dead right now. Silver equipment will make a difference. Gain some levels. The problem with Crescent Lake is I have this restriction from Goatfish Man, who I sometimes call Goatfishman, that prohibits me from exiting or continuing past a forest without traversing every square of that forest. Yeah. Pardon me. Crescent Lake is completely surrounded by forests. I kind of forgot there were poisonous enemies in the Earth Cave. I've been fortunate here, though. Very fortunate. That's nice. A lot of the treasure chests in the Earth Cave are guarded by Earth Elementals, or Earth, they're called. A lot of people really like the sprite, apparently. Depending on how I approach this chest, I'm going to run into one. I think the front of the chest might be safe. Yeah, it is. But if I were to walk into the space right above me right now, I think I would have a forced battle with Earth. Getting 2,000 gold for getting to that chest when I need levels anyway. Very worthwhile. There's a lot of dumb treasure in dungeons in this game. That's one of the JRPG conventions that really no longer exists, but you can pick up like a cloth armor in some of the later dungeons. I know there's one in the Ice Cave. I think this dungeon has like a wooden staff, which is totally purposeless at this point. Wood is nice and heavily armored. It didn't help him against the Peeds. Peeds are enemies around Crescent Lake that killed me like 4 times, as you'll see if you looked at the highlights. Maybe I can go tonight, just gain some levels, not have any wipeouts, and get back on track with actual action going forward. I don't consider this to be a long game. I would normally say I can beat this game in a day, certainly, probably like 8 hours. If I'm playing really fast, I'm sure I could get close to 4. I'm not really a speedrunner. Sometimes I play games fast, but I'm not really a speedrunner. 4 hours isn't crazy for this game, but when you've got this set of restrictions, it is. What have I already spent on this? A good long time. Where do I go here? Money. Pure potion. That's actually kind of helpful. Wood. Wood has such good armor. He took only 4 damage from a Grogre. Green Ogre. Grey Ogre. Great Ogre. Who even knows? Someone knows. Someone out there definitely knows that. I'm just gonna act like they don't. My levels are like, I realize now, like, I can't run from battles. There are other weird restrictions acting on me. I'm very likely to end up pretty darn over-leveled toward the end of this game. And I do think I'm going to need it. There's going to be a point, much later in the game, you have to walk towards a city that's just completely surrounded by forest tiles. It's going to be long. I don't even know if it's going to be hard. It's just going to be stupidly time-consuming. I'm not going to make that walk twice. Can you imagine if I had to make that walk twice? Like if I forgot the one key item that would make me have to go back there again. Ugh. I would quit. I don't know if I would actually quit, but it feels like I would now. I've had a few, my last few play sessions, and probably part of the reason I slowed down is I'm at a bit of an impasse. I don't believe my team is strong enough to get to the bottom of the Earth Cave, although they're doing okay so far, but this is the easy part. Definitely not strong enough to walk into Crescent Lake, because I tried that enough times. Including one really, really sad time if you watch the highlights. I forget what one it's called. It was a disaster. Okay, I have a feeling walking in front of that chest is a forced earth battle. I'm going to dance around it, even though I kind of want to show whoever's watching right now. I don't think there's anyone. But I'd like to show off an earth battle, but there will be other opportunities where we're all good. Let's just try to live. So my colleague who I was talking with earlier this week, his Twitch handle is GamerDadTV, gamer_dad_TV. He's a pretty entertaining guy. He plays newer games. He's mostly been playing DayZ lately, which is not something I've really been exposed to. When he plays it, I am pretty sure it is very different than anyone who produced it ever expected it to be. I guess they're not that dangerous. I should just fight them all. Well, I should be eating those words, I suppose. They're not hard to kill. It has been nice getting that coral sword. I think it's made a difference. I had the useless, well, not useless, the long sword that I really fought to get after failing at walking to Crescent Lake a few times. So the critical mirror error I made much earlier in the playthrough, I'm forbidden from entering stores more than once. I had this big plan to pick up 2 silver swords, which are very overpowered when you get them normally. And I literally walked out of the store before I bought them. And all I could think was, should I abandon the challenge rule, or should I suck it up? And I chose suck it up, so it ends up making the challenge a little harder for me. But I think it was the right thing to do. I don't remember if iguanas are weak against ice or not. For some reason I feel like they are. I might be making that up or basing it on a later Final Fantasy game. Let's see how this goes. 40, 45, 53. Okay, that was not especially exciting. Also, the giants hit pretty hard. When you can do 39 damage to wood, that's pretty scary. They have 1 attack but it's a big one. Oh, 55 to Mars. Isn't that a band name? Should I use heal potions or just get out of here? I came over here. This hallway is known as the Hall of Giants, popularly. And the Hall of Giants is known to be, well, every step you take in this particular hallway always triggers a battle with giants, and usually iguanas. And giants give you a lot of money. They give you, especially for the point in the game. I'm going ahead with the health potions. If that weren't obvious. Because this is going to be useful. Going to gain some levels, going to gain some money. The money is of questionable use, but the levels are not. The money, I have a feeling I'm going to be diving into money like Scrooge McDuck later in the game. I won't have a lot to spend it on after a certain point. At least I won't have to spend time gaining money, because that's a thing in this game. Usually if you have a party with a lot of magic users, you need a lot of money at the end game if you actually want all the spells. It starts making sense for people who want to play through the game quickly to not really buy any high-level spells, because the prices are just nuts. It's actually a balance issue, I would say, is the spells are rarely worth the money they cost in this game. Some of the really silly ones, people always point this out. The spell Pure cures poison, and it costs 4,000 gold. Meanwhile, you can buy a Pure potion that cures poison once for 75 gold. So, buying Pure costs more than 50 Pure potions worth, and you are unlikely to use that amount of Pure potions. I don't even know if I did the math right there. It's some crazy number. For some reason, I'm counting my 75 as 80 and still not able to do the math. I'm not at my best right now. Perhaps even sillier, you're even less likely to get petrified, and there's an item and a spell that cure petrified. They're both called soft in this version of this game. And a soft potion, or golden needle if you're later in the Final Fantasy games, cures petrify for 800 gold once, or you can buy the spell for 20,000, I believe? 20,000 gold to get a spell to cure petrify, which you can only use a couple times before resting at any reasonable level. It tends to make more sense to just buy 10 10 soft potions, and you'll never need them again. Pure, you'll probably use more than 10. I guess it depends how you play. I'm going to use more than 10, I can tell you that. I'm going to use more than 10 Pure potions, I should clarify, because by my challenge restrictions, I'm unable to run from battles. Normally I would run from a battle that has a lot of poison in it, because it's less worthwhile and irritating as well. Yeah. Also, the thing about walking through the forests, poison will suck more for me as well, because of the thing where I may not use the select button. Every time you're poisoned in Final Fantasy 1, it reorders the party, and party order matters a bit. The person at the top is always hit the most often. You tend to put your fighter there because they have by far the best defensive options in the game. But when the poison strikes, and you would have seen this in previous parts of the playthrough, when my mages go to the top or the black belt, they can get creamed pretty quickly. Yay, wood. I should probably have a healing break. Oh, well, I'm not going to get that healing break. Mars is going to die here. Anything I can do to prevent that? Not really. It's possible that luck could prevent it. We'll see. fighters wielding the bear sword, which for some reason I kept remembering was a green sword, but it is not a green sword, it's a purple sword. And the coral sword is pink, but that's okay, because wood, with a name like that, you've got to be secure in your masculinity. That was poor planning. I probably could have done that in one round, but no big deal. Turns out Mars lives. And gained a level. That's nice. What's his magic count looking like now? Oh, he gained a second level 4 spell. That'll be helpful. That's hugely helpful, actually. The fast spell is arguably... I don't know who's arguing about this. The fast spell is one of the very best spells in the game. It doubles someone's physical attacks. So it makes my fighters and monks much more potent. Now I do have a restriction that I can only cast a given spell once in a battle. Who was that? Beej or someone? Yeah. Oh no, Beej's is the one about spell casting items. Only use one spell casting item, and then Mr. L1193 said, may not use any spell or its item cast equivalent more than once in battle, so we'll see exactly how that plays out. Anyway, useful to get a spell charge. Did I ever... Okay, so this is interesting. If we look at Luki's stats, I'm still changing between calling him Look and Luki. There's reasons for that, covered much earlier. Anyway, his absorb is set to 12. That's actually the result of a bug, and it's affecting me negatively right now, although it's possible for it to affect you positively. But at level up, a black belt, if they have a weapon equipped, or no, if they don't have a weapon equipped, but do have armor equipped, it does a strange thing. It sets their absorb, their defense rating, equal to their level, even if it's worse than what they would have by equipment. So if I look at Luki's armor, I see he's wearing gloves, which have 1 absorb, and a silver bracelet, which if I recall correctly had 15. So his absorb, his defensive rating, should be 16. Pretty big difference. By visiting this screen, you undo the bug. So now if I go back to his status, it should actually say 16. Yeah, his absorb is 16 now, so every time he levels, I actually have to kind of watch closely and just make sure that he is... oops, I forgot to heal. Oh. Wow. We'll be fine. After this, we'll head to a town. Luki's really the guy who I want to gain the levels the most. Because of things like having their absorb based on their level and their damage, and critical rate is also based on their level. So many things are level based. It makes a lot of sense for Luki to gain as many levels as he can before the class change even. And that's because there is a hidden property of every character that's basically the equivalent of their magic defense, as you would see in more modern JRPGs. It's hidden from view from the player. Oddly, my favorite game, and I've talked about it before, is Phantasy Star 4. It does the exact same thing. It has almost the same set of statistics even, including magic defense, hidden from the player. Anyway. The black belt, for whatever reason, it seems to be a bug, or at least an unintended behavior, gains more magic defense prior to class change than it does after. So Luki gaining levels before class changes slightly to the ultimate benefit of the party. A funny thing happened there is he gained a level, so his absorb went back to 13. By visiting the armor screen and going back, his absorb is now 16. In a couple of levels, it won't matter anymore. For a while. Running into cobras is kind of sucky. I mean, I don't think they're going to kill me. I'd have to be pretty unlucky, but it wouldn't be absurd. The cobras, you might notice, get more critical hits than an average enemy. That's actually a property of their design. So. Critical hits, partly ignore the target's defense, which makes them very dangerous to Wood, who stands in the front of the party with crazy amounts of armor and high hit points. Ooh, that's a lot of dudes. The nearest town is called Melmond, and it actually has no clinic, which means you can't revive a character there. My rules prohibit me from reviving people outside of towns with clinics anyway. I hope I haven't. I'm just thinking about if I've messed with that rule by healing poison outside of battle, but I don't think I have yet. I'm trying to keep abreast of my rules here. Anyway, because of that, the clinics become a little more important than usual. I might have something crappy happen here. Oh, this is going to be sucky. I'm going to fast forward a little. Oh my goodness. Okay. So that was me fast forwarding a whole battle. Because I got, you might call it stun locked. The board that this challenge is associated with, we call it para-plinked. That's when you are paralyzed and plinked to death because a horde of undead monsters does 1 damage to you over and over again. So Wood just got pretty badly slaughtered there because he couldn't act for turns and turns and turns. You might not have noticed how many turns actually happened during that fast forward, and frankly I have no idea either, but it was a lot. And him and Look were just sitting there being pounded, and thankfully Lookie woke up. This is a great time for him to gain some levels. We should go fight imps. As I was saying, Melman doesn't have a clinic where you can revive people. So we have to go to a whole other town anyway, and we may as well go to the first town. It's actually addressed that that town doesn't have a clinic. If you go around talking to the townspeople, there is someone in the town of Melmond who says something like, the vampire came to town and destroyed the... I think they just say clinic. They might have said clinic and another shop, I forget. Maybe we should look for that person for funsies. Sahags are a crappy source of experience, which is too bad for Lukey. Who could your experience gain is proportional to how alone you are in the world. So Lukey being able to fight a few battles on his own is actually really good for him, as long as he doesn't die. I wouldn't expect him to die in the sea. Anyway, let's revive a couple of friends. Now, should we revive Tick or Wood? Tick needs more levels. I think we'll go with Tick for a while. They're pretty much identical. I mean, they've got minor statistical differences. So we'll revive Tick and Mars. Part of the idea here being I have to keep different people alive against each of the fiends. Strange requirement. Yeah. And because fighters are a bit overpowered in this game, I kind of thought against later fiends, I am in all likelihood going to want to keep my fighters alive. Kind of weird having Lukey at the front of the team. Seeing as he's my worst defensively. This is that thing where the select button screws me a bit, so. The absence of the select button, I should say. With thanks to Zombo. Oh crap, Tick doesn't have a weapon. I need to harvest a weapon for him off Wood's corpse. Lukey has some pretty good damage potential. I forget if I checked to see when he was getting another hit. I'm sure it's not for quite a while. Yeah, he'll get it when his hit percentage is listed as 64. That's a good while off now. That's 8 levels away, something like that. Wood is dead. He may as well be equipped with a longsword so he has something when I make that mistake the next time. I did say when. There's been no real shortage of mistakes in this game. One stands out above the others so far, but yeah. It would have been really nice to be able to walk to Crescent Lake that one time. One time I was 2 squares away from Crescent Lake, literally. And if I had taken a moment to heal my people, in all likelihood we would have been fine. Got some new equipment. Silver swords. I could really go for silver swords even now. Not remembering perfectly, but off the top of my head, I am pretty sure that silver swords, well, I know they're better than the coral sword with regards to most of the statistics. I think they might have a worse critical rate. It's not a giant factor, but it's a consideration. Good job, Tick. I keep talking about, I talked about earlier, rather, I should say, that some of these characters are based off an ongoing roll or D20 campaign that I've had with friends. Tick and Lukey are from that campaign. I haven't played since I believe since I started this whole playthrough. I'm the DM, I should be organizing these things. Last time I kind of left it in someone else's hands, I should say, and it just hasn't materialized. We're kind of close to the end of a giant campaign, and I just want it to end. I don't expect them to walk, so maybe I should talk about the campaign a little. I think it's interesting. I've done a few forays into DMing before, and I think it's kind of cool. In this particular kind of thread, the party was, I don't know, they were adventuring on a continent, and they found that there was a certain port where ships kept coming into port and unloading, but they didn't seem to have any people on the boats, and no one ever saw them unloading, and the boats just kept unloading. And so they went to investigate, and they snuck onto one of the ships. I'm gonna go fight giants until somebody dies. Won't take long. Hey, nice battle. Ooh. And so they snuck onto a ship that had no crew, and it took them to this other continent where they found that basically it was a continent, and it took them into the port of a major city that was basically abandoned except for constructs. What you would learn if you were smarter than my party is that the ship itself was actually like an animated ship that had been somehow given the instruction that it needed to deliver things to the other continent. There are people living on the continent, but they're sort of in hiding. They're sort of almost, it wouldn't be too crazy to say almost subservient to the constructs. There's like golems patrolling the streets of the city, and the people are all hiding indoors. And I tried to give them a bunch of red herrings as to the cause. The hook they were given to get interested in this, not even positive whether it's worked, is a wealthy person on the continent they came from was saying, like, I'm getting these shipments and I don't know who I owe the money to or what they want. So yeah, Tick is one of them. Lukey is actually not in that party. He was in the party on the other continent. Tick is the only one who's actually participating in that adventure. So we kind of find out that for all these in this sparsely populated continent, basically ruled by constructs, before the constructs came to take over everything, which was about 5 years ago, there were 4 very powerful magic users that everyone kind of knew and basically treated as a government, and they worked together, and we're trying to find out which one of them caused these golems to happen. And you start learning reasons why this could be, and it turned out that, and you start to see this, they start exploring places where they knew that these 4, they call them the 4 great powers, where the 4 great powers were living and working. And as they learn more about them, they start to see they all had some kind of plan to live forever. So one of them was a necromancer, and he had plans to make himself into an undead. One of them was like an enchanter, and so she had a plan to basically live on through the generations by implanting her consciousness in her children, etc. One of them was just a conjurer who just said, I'm going to make some super powerful creation, and that's that. Anyway, they all had a plan to live forever, but they also found that continent had a large kind of underworld underneath that was starting to rise up and take over cities on the surface. So these 4 great powers, who people were sort of treating as a government, they all came up with a plan to battle any threats that arose from the underworld. And so they all made some kind of powerful magic item or entity that they thought was going to defend everyone on the surface. And what the party is kind of in the process of learning now is the golems that have taken over the entire continent were someone's plan to take care of any threats from the underworld. And by the underworld, I mean kind of, there's actually a war between Drow and Duergar. I don't know if I pronounced these things right. I'm not that much of a D&D nerd, honestly. But the war between them was kind of spilling into the surface. And so, as a way of containing that, someone said, I'm going to make these golems that are going to take over everything, and they'll be able to manufacture more of themselves, and that's why there's so many constructs. What happened is the person gave them a very poor set of instructions. It's kind of an analog to the ongoing development of artificial intelligence and the pressure to continue that development by people who don't totally understand it. I'm an artificial intelligence enthusiast to some extent. Anyway, I was building towards something there, I think. The command that was given, and I did say there was a war between the Drow and Duergar. The problem was considered to be more the Duergar than the Drow. But that the surface cities were being ransacked. Whoever had created the golems had simply said, protect all of the humans and elves on the continent. And so the golems have taken that to an extreme, and they've started kind of policing everything. They've destroyed a whole village of halflings. They make the dwarves of this. It's generic D&D fantasy setting. They make the dwarves feel like kind of lower class citizens who can kind of be bullied around by everyone else, and there's no repercussions. I said repercussions strangely there. So there's that. Oh, Luki's dead. Okay, time to go back to town soon. Maybe one more. Mars and Tick will be fine. This is nasty grinding. This is just yucky to play. Oh, crap. I have ice spells. Maybe I'll whip out some ice spells. Because of that command to protect humans and dwarves, a lot of things have gone wrong. Notably, the reason the ship is going to the other continent, that was kind of the way that people got there in the first place. And they haven't learned this yet, but the constructs ruling over this new continent consider the other continent to be a threat. So they're sending ships loaded with iron ore to the other continent because they're intending to basically colonize it with very powerful constructs and destroy everyone there. The party is gradually learning these things. I don't really have an ability as a DM. I'm, I guess, a relative newbie, to create a feeling of time pressure. But there could be a sense of, you've basically, maybe they've already failed. I could pull that on them, but that's not everyone's favorite kind of story. Ultimately, I want my party to walk into Crescent Lake one day. And that's why I'm giving Tick so many heal potions. I should also specify with regards to my challenge requirements. One of them is, and I've talked about it already, where is it here? The may not enter a shop more than once, El Commanda 4. He specified that he was referring to weapon and armor shops. Wow, survived all that poison. Cool. Cat's being annoying again. Stupid cat. So I'm allowed technically to enter item shops, but so far I've been avoiding entering the same item shop more than once, just because I believe I can. This could go badly. This could go very badly. Did we see how many hit points Tick started with? Oh my goodness. Don't go this way. Don't. No, this shouldn't happen. Tick. Wake up, Tick. Tick. No. It's not like I lost anything big, but someone shouldn't lose 300 hit points on the way back to town when I was so careful to heal. And they're so well armored. That sucked. In a minor way, but that sucked. How can we prevent that? There's no cure. So no, there is no way I'm going to do Peninsula of Power in this run. Well, it was a good other I'm not really interested in dying all the time. Okay, same thing we did before here. Stupid. At one point I considered going to the Peninsula of Power, the one little point on the map where you can encounter much higher level enemies earlier in the game. I thought that would be a good way to do this grinding. And yet, it's surrounded by forest, so it would be far too much work. Even getting to it would take forever, and if I were in rough shape and I needed to get out of there, I'd just be screwed. So no, there is no way I'm going to do Peninsula of Power in this run. Well, it was a good other total party kill for me to highlight, because that's what most of my highlights have been. Next time I need to react differently. Every time I just have the same damn reaction. Oh, that shouldn't happen. I have to say something funnier next time. Twiddle TV. That will require a tetanus shot. Like, I don't want to go to Crescent Lake again. The walk there is hard, and when I do get it, getting out will be just as bad, right? You stupid ghouls. We will have our revenge. Or not. Maybe we just won't. I think one of my kids might be up. It's pretty late. They have been sleeping badly lately. I think it's because we got the summer heat a little early. I need to be more careful about when I leave the Hall of Giants, I think. Because if I had two people alive, that ghoul encounter would have gone pretty differently. The big issue, though, is having Lukey at the top. He's got pretty crappy defenses. He gets walloped for like 40 damage up there. Can't move him because my select button is disabled by rules. I'm fast forwarding, but this is me getting reckless because of my recklessness. I'm in two wrongs making a right here. I died, so I should act as if I'm going to die. Wow, look how fast Lukey gets down like that. Okay, Tick gained a level. Lukey didn't gain a level. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to start going to an item shop more often. Get heal potions. I have the money to make that a convenient source of life. I might take advantage of Alcomanda's generous clarification. Personally, I kind of thought when he said can't go into the same shop more than once, that he just meant it, item shops included. Until someone brought up, does that mean you can't go to the same inn more than once, which would have been really punishing. And I said, no, I kind of understood just shops where you can buy things, items, weapons, armor. And he came in and said, no, really just weapons and armor, oh, and magic. No big deal not going to the same magic more than once. Other than the fact that Mars has no healing magic, but it's not even really a big deal so far. Which sounds silly, given how often I've been dying. But healing in Final Fantasy I isn't as significant as it is in more modern JRPGs. The kind where it's very, very hard to lose. What have I been playing lately? I've been playing Citizens of Earth, which is developed not in Japan. It's Earthbound-like. It's pretty neat. It's by a little group called Eden Industries, the result of a failed Kickstarter. I enjoy it, but there are very few consequences when you die. And there's also an option before you die at any point in a combat when it's your turn. You push a button It lets you start that combat again and choose different party members. You can't, it's not like a total cheat, but you can choose new party members, so it's fairly close to a do-over at will. Let's use these ice spells before they become needed quite so desperately. Yeah, Citizens of Earth. I talked about it a bit earlier. Neat game. Very Earthbound-like. You control the Vice President of the world, but it's an Earthbound-style world. It's not meant to be the real world. It's not in the future. When I heard the title of the game, I kind of thought this will be a future game, because Citizens of Earth kind of made me think space travel. It's not quite like that. Just modern. And you go around recruiting citizens, and early in the game you pick up, well, giving away a lot of things. A FedEx employee, your mom, a skeptic, who they generically call a conspiracy guy, although all these characters you get to name, a barista from Moonbucks, and these are your party members. They all have a completely unique set of attacks. Their statistics are interesting. They all have an out-of-battle ability, and there's like 40 of them because there's different citizen archetypes for the whole world. So it's also got really good humor to it, very Earthbound-like humor, very much. Earthbound was this weird representation of American culture produced by the Japanese, and Citizens of Earth is this weird comedic representation of American culture by Americans. Or at least that's how it seems to me. I am very low on heal potions. I think I'll have to stop using heal potions just in case I need some on the walk back. So I'll just play a little bit and see who dies. Oops. Oh well. I think the answer is Luke. Lukey will die. That's not very surprising. Ooh. Let's do this and see if Mars can live. Yeah, Citizens of Earth. I've been playing a lot in the evenings. I've been playing the Wii U port. I also own it on Steam, it turns out. Maybe I'll do a Steam playthrough of it later that I stream. I would enjoy that. It's been one of the things distracting me from doing this, which I have no intention of abandoning, not even close. But definitely it's been a while since I've come back to this. Uh-oh. No! You can see its HP ticking down by 1 every time. And this is Tick. He's not even quite as robust as Wood is. Oh man. What a stupid battle this is. He saw 1 critical hit there, took his damage down a whole bunch. Tick just gained level 13. Okay. You got nice even levels considering I've been leaving people dead all the time. one other thing about Citizens Verse, and I can't really explain it, but every time you gain a level, I believe you're cured of all status effects, and your hit points are restored. So sometimes the very best way to revive someone, there's a big obvious experience bar for all your characters visible through combat, and they'll gain experience for the enemies they've defeated in combat right when they're defeated, not even at the end of battle. So sometimes in the heat of a battle, the best thing to do is continue the battle when your party members revive. That was silly. I went to the inn before the clinic. Oh well. It's kind of neat in that game. I found lots of opportunities to strategically level up. I need to go to the inn again now, because when you're revived in Final Fantasy 1, you come back with 1 HP. Which is not enough HP. So I guess at some point I'm going to have to start feeling comfortable. Oh, what the... Too time consuming. Yes, that's my actual complaint. I'm going to have to start feeling like I'm ready to walk to Crescent Lake. I still feel like I'll be ready for Crescent Lake before going to the middle of the Earth Cave. I could be wrong. You think I could do the middle of the Earth Cave now? Maybe. Maybe I'll try it. No treasure. Beeline to the middle of the Earth Cave. Let's give that a shot when we get back there. So the Earth Cave is the cave I was just in. But I'm not going to go down the hallway with the constant giant fights. I don't know whose idea it was to put that there, but it's useful sometimes. Okay, I've saved in Melmond. Now we're going to the Earth Cave. Don't touch the forest. Hopefully I didn't do that before. And I intend to meet all the challenge requirements, but I've said before, if I accidentally don't touch one tile of forest, I don't want anyone to start telling me like that invalidates your challenge, because you should go screw yourself. I am observing the spirit of the challenge as best I can, but let's also be realistic, and if you need to count all the tiles of forest I walk through, you should be learning a skill. You should learn a trade. You could be learning your electrical code for your given municipality in the time it takes to count forest tiles. I wonder if there are municipalities with their own electrical code. Chernobyl, probably. Ugh. The worst part is I'm not even going to use magic here, because I want to save it. That wasn't that bad. The Geists, who most people hate, mostly because of the paralysis, I find they do in fact give good cash drops, at least. I've always enjoyed, you can rarely encounter them around Elfland, and on the occasions when I've been grinding in Elfland for, say, a silver sword, I've always enjoyed running into into Geists, not Asps. Not even close to Asps, forget them. This might be wasteful, but let's try. I seem to have a party sort order again. Actually, it's what I started with today. We'll take one run at the vampire, and whether I make it or not, that's going to be the end for me for tonight. My friend who I was talking to about streaming was saying he'll regularly do 4 or 6 hours. I can play a game for 4 or 6 hours. I don't know. I don't know if I can talk in a somewhat entertaining manner for 4 or 6 hours. I would really like to use magic, but I want to save it for really bad things that I'm going to encounter below. There are these birds that show up later. Cockatrices here, right? Anytime you encounter them, you want them to be gone as soon as possible. Oh, I ruined my perfect sword order. And now there's that grindy sound. I think it's down here. It's funny, I'm not really using guides and maps, but I seem to be doing alright. I haven't played this game in a pretty long time. I guess I've watched tool-assisted runs and such. Well, not lately, though. I remember, I was always a fan of the tool-assisted speedrun community, until I had kids, and then I became a fan of nothing, because I haven't had the time to be a fan of anything. My wife is a fan of the Toronto Raptors. I disagree. Anyway, as I was saying, tool-assisted speedruns. I remember there was a published Final Fantasy run by someone named Mookish, and he used a Red Mage 3 fighters, and his time seemed impressive. But then the Axeman came and tried a very different strategy that, after the first couple fights, was basically solo fighter, and it worked really well with tool assisted because it's a lot easier to manipulate the outcomes of fights with one character than it is with 3 or 4. And manipulating luck in this game actually isn't that hard if you're using things like save states and frame advance. Okay, this is a job 4. And I hope Mars doesn't get stunned. Oh, beautiful. That was a good fight. Thank you, Mars. That was really cool that worked. This wasn't that bad. Okay, vampire. Kind of a mini-boss-ish. The main reason he's here is to make you forget that there's a treasure chest behind him, and then you have to come down again because you forgot to get the treasure chest. He is otherwise a pretty minor boss. Yeah, see? Pretty minor boss. Minor mini-boss. I'm going to remember to get that treasure chest. Step up on, who was it? Beej recently did this in a challenge run of some sort. I got a ruby. That will come in handy. Now I can get myself a great axe. That's actually a weapon upgrade for one of my people. These are the birds I was talking about earlier. We need to take them out quickly. And we all know why, right? We know what kinds of things cockatrices are known for. This should do the job. Good. I think I get a lot of money for that, too. It's okay. Money is quickly becoming unimportant. Chance to strike first. I'm going to take my chances here. Good job. Unless something goes really terribly wrong, I'm feeling pretty confident about this ruby run. I don't think I'm going to walk through the tunnel even. I'm just going to go back to town and save. This should help. I don't like fighting wolves. Wolves in this game just don't carry enough cash to be worth my time. I really wish wolves had bigger wallets. That would improve the game. Okay, let's do it. We're gonna run out of magic, but I think it might be worth it. Nice. See, I can be happy sometimes too. I feel like things are going well. Of course, this could be... Here I am ruining my happiness. This could be the build up to the epic moment where I'm 2 tiles away from Crescent Lake, right? And this one I would love to use a spell to wipe them, but it would just be a waste because they're not strong. They will poison me. Oops, that was stupid. They will poison me, but they won't really cause much in the way of massive damage to my weak point. Keeping in mind that I can't cure my poison. I can cure my poison in battle. That was actually borderline negotiated when the rules were being determined. Who was it who said that? Was it Action? Oh yeah, Action for status effects may only be healed in battle or at a town or clinic. He had originally just said at a town or clinic, but there was something in the way he posted it that made me think, oh, it can't be healed except in battle or at a clinic, a town with a clinic. So it ended up that he kind of said, no, that interpretation is good. It'll still be tricky. And given the other conditions that were already upon me, it ended up being sensible, I think. And that kind of thing happens when I'm fast forwarding because it's acting like I'm searching when I come back to battle. Okay, I feel pretty good about that whole thing. How many heal potions do I have? Very few. That was a stupid run. Why did I do that with like no heal potions? Someone should have brought that to my attention. It's too bad no one's watching. Earlier it showed I had one person watching. I don't know what it shows now. Someone should really be writing in the chat. The last couple of times, at least one of the people from the FF boards was writing in the chat the whole time. I need more banners and fanciness. My friend who I was talking about, he's got a pretty fancy Twitch channel. Okay. I'm going to break my rule about item shops. With the intention of buying heal potions. So I am going to go to Coneria and do that. And by break my rule, I should point out, it's not one of my official rules. It's a clarification of El Comanda's rule about going to shops multiple times. I had tried to play it pure, but I want this challenge run to not even be crazy challenging, just interesting. It's been sort of a mix of challenge and interest thus far. So this is me buying a full inventory of heal potions, which is kind of comforting. This requires me to push the A button 300 times, I think. Ish. 297 technically. Except that I already had a few heal potions, so somewhere in the 260s. Surely I'm close, right? I'm a reasonably good button pusher. In Citizens of Earth, one of the recruitment quests is for there's a bartender, but I think in the interest of keeping the game innocent, they make him like a soda fountain bartender. I think he might be called Bartender, though. Anyway, he has battle effects are based around like serving pop and feeling miserable afterwards, which I think, again, the original idea was like make it beer and you get a hangover, but it's not quite how the game implemented it. Anyway, recruiting him requires a button pressing challenge, and a lot of people are saying they can't do it. I didn't find it that hard. I'm not, in my experience, the best button pusher ever. I know that from Mario Party. But anyway. I'm buying a stock of tents. Tents don't provide much in the way of healing, but they are like free portable save points on the overworld. I think they'll be handy when I have to walk through large sections of forest. At any given point where I just feel like I want to be able to start at that point again, things are going well, I can use tents. I've certainly got the money for it, so why not? I forget how many pure potions I have. Yeah, the bartender's button mashing game, I don't know if you remember Chrono Trigger. There's like a soup drinking game and a pop drinking game during Chrono Trigger. And those were irritating. The bartender one's a little better because there actually is some strategy to it, even though it's just button mashing. It was neat. Let's look at my inventory here. I feel like we'll be good for a while. There were kind of 5 stages of button mashing you have to get through in 2 minutes, and if you button mash at the wrong time, like while the thing's showing up in red, you lose points instead of gaining them. But as you increase in levels through these 5 stages, you gain points faster. So if you start out kind of reckless and just mash the button as fast as you can get through the first 2 levels no problem. And by the time you're in the 4th and 5th level, the points you gain go up so much faster that recruiting the bartender actually isn't that hard. So at first you just frantically button mash and it works out pretty well. And once you get up to the top, you slow down and be very careful, and you should really have no problems recruiting the bartender in Citizens of Earth. I'm going to play through at least the Titan's Tunnel, just because that last run went so well. May as well ride the wave. Tigers. Tigers are one of those enemies with, I believe, they actually, if I recall correctly, they have an increased surprise rate and an increased critical rate. Uh-oh, I think I have to walk through a forest. Wood is dead. Wood is the nature lover in the party. That's the name. So, do I really have to walk through the forests? Goat fishman? That's a tiny forest, it's fine. This is me appreciating every tile of forest. Not twice, so that's nice. This is the Titan's Tunnel. It is not very interesting. But there's a Titan in it. You don't get to fight him. In a lot of the hacks you do, but not in the generic version. Give him the ruby and he disappears forever, instantly. And you actually get some treasure. I wonder if there's something super useful here. Despite my number of rules, some of which are, kind of strange, there are no rules pertaining to equipment being used, I don't think. So I can pretty much, besides like shopping stuff, I can pick up anything I want and do what I want with it. Great axe, 620 gold, 450 gold, amazing totals. Silver helmet. Silver helmet will be useful. Marginally better than the iron helmet. I don't remember the exact difference, but you can just trust me. The great axe I don't think is going to do me any favors. Titan's Tunnel is a very short area. It allows you to come over to this point of part of the land, which is otherwise inaccessible at this point. I'm going to use a fire spell here. No messing around. Well, there will be messing around if Mars gets paralyzed. Okay, thank you. Luki gained a level, which means his absorb is set to 15 when it should be 16. Yeah. We're not looking at a giant difference, but may as well address it. And because we want him to gain experience, I put a couple heal potions on him. I kind of don't care too much if he dies, but I do want him to gain lots of experience, so it's not like I'm feeling in very much danger when I'm walking outside here. So this cave is the only thing on the other side of the Titan's Tunnel. And you come in here to talk to Sarda. And he gives you a rod. Not a rod. Not Alex Rodriguez, but he gives you a rod. Apparently Rick Ankiel is in this game, but not Alex Rodriguez. So we've done everything we need to do. The next plot point to hit will be, going to the bottom of the Earth Cave. Am I prepared for that? Borderline. If I had perfect party order and really good luck with poison, I could probably do it. Certainly my fight against the vampire was going well. Maybe I should give it a shot. Is it more or less likely than Crescent Lake? I think what I'm going to do is get back to its city, be done for the night, post this to the game FAQ board where I normally post it, and see what people have to say in terms of suggestions for moving forward. Oh, I was going to run. Wouldn't that have been silly? Invalidate my whole challenge. Well, I never called this a challenge. I called this ban something. It really is a challenge, though. It's a set of challenge rules. They're just senseless challenge rules, and they're not even really mine. So, just a way of changing up the play. And what kinds of things did I think people were going to ban when we started this? I don't even know. Certain pieces of equipment, I thought. Certain spells or spell types. I didn't expect to have to walk through all the forest tiles. I've mentioned this before, but I would really love for other people to take this up. First of all, because I've thought of weird rules that I'd love to impose on people. But also because I want to see what other ideas people have. Okay. So like I said, I'm going to post this to the board, see what people think about what to do next. This was pretty good, though. Only one total party kill and beat the vampire, so that's pretty good. Made some progress. Glad I came back to this. I have no intention of abandoning it. Life just happens. Okay. Thanks. See you.